into AU Nation. Each week we bring together members of the Auburn Student Media Group and discuss the latest topics in the world of sports. I'm Evan Blank. On today's show, we'll fill in some blanks, preview the NBA trade deadline, and at the end of the show, we'll answer our burning question. Now, let's introduce today's panel of experts. Our first guest today is Morgan Buckles. Morgan, how are you today?
I'm great. I'm really happy to be here.
Hey, we're glad to have you on the show. First timer here today, folks. And our other expert today is a returner, Keith Gambill. Keith, how are you today?
Doing well. Excited to be on here. Thank you guys for having me.
All right, guys, let's jump right in, and we'll start by filling in some blanks. I'll give you a sports phrase, and your job is going to be to fill in that blank. So our first one today, NBA All-Star break came up last week. So big news out of All-Star weekend, sort of weird news. Cavaliers point guard Kyrie Irving thinks that the world is flat. He is blank. Keith, we'll start with you.
I'm going to say Kyrie's better than that. I've always thought Kyrie would be, he's one of the good ones that tries to stay out of saying all the foolish stuff out to the media, and he let me down on this one because I think he's acting a little crazy, in my opinion.
Morgan?
I think it's entertaining. I mean, to say the least, obviously. I mean, even Draymond Green agreed with him, which is, I think, the crazier part, that he actually had someone agree with him. Nobody really gave him any slack about it. My favorite part about it was he was quoted saying, somebody asked him, well, you've seen pictures of the earth and it's round. And he was like, well, there's plenty of things that my school system has taught me that we know now not to be true. So, I mean, maybe that would be something to explore, but we know the world is not flat, clearly.
Yeah, if I had to say a word, I'd say he's joking, because I don't think he actually believes it.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that he's an athlete, but he still went to Duke. They don't let complete idiots, no matter what type of athlete you are. So that was just a little fun story coming out of break. But now we switch sports and we head to the Diamond. MLB spring training is underway. I think the blank will win the World Series. Morgan, we'll start with you this time.
I'm going to go Boston Red Sox. I think it's a good year for Boston. They've got a new pitcher in the rotation. Now that Ortiz is, in retirement, I still think that with that new pitcher, they'll be pretty solid.
I'm going to go with the Cubs again. I think going back to the World Series and winning it. I think they're the favorites right now in Vegas to open the season again, and they bring back most of the talent. I just don't really see any reason to pick against them right now.
Yeah, there's a bunch of teams that you can look at. Obviously, the Cubs. I think the Indians have a great chance to come back. They have some pitchers healthy. But I'm going to agree with Morgan here. I think the Red Sox right now are the team to beat. Chris Sale coming over. Obviously, that's a giant trade. Sure, they had to get rid of Yoan Moncada in that trade, their top prospect. But they got so many really good young guys. Mookie Betts, I think, is one that is just playing out of his mind, and I think he'll just get better and better. So Red Sox, I'm with Morgan on this one, but you can't count out the Cubs right now with the personnel they've got. So, but we stick to baseball. We turn now to the college level, and we turn local. Auburn baseball will be blank this season. Keith?
I'm going to say interesting to watch, and I hope it's for the better. But I think that this is Coach Thompson's second year, so I like to think that the players are going to finally start, developing in his system and start kind of clicking. And then there's a ton of new players on this roster this year. So I'm curious to see how this is all going to play out and how they're kind of going to mesh together under Coach Thompson in his second season.
I think it's going to be make or break. Because here at Auburn, we know that we have no problem getting rid of coaches if they don't deliver. And it's his second season, and although he does have a lot of new players and it's pretty premature, he's going to have to show us something in order for the fans to connect, in order for Jay Jacobs to really believe in him as a coach and to believe in them as a team.
Yeah, if I had to give a word, I'd say probably improved. Just when he came in, he was hired on such short notice, didn't have the fall to really talk to and develop the players. Got hired in, I think, November, so he came in
October 23rd, I think.
October, so end of October. So he didn't have a lot of time coming in. Now he's got his own guys in here, his own recruits. He's had a full fall to develop them as well, and they've got a good non-conference schedule that'll test them. So I'm going to say improved.
Yeah.
But there we go. Our analysts showed off their vocabularies in that one. But on the other side of this break, we'll discuss a blockbuster trade that took place out of All-Star Weekend. You don't want to miss that. This is AU Nation.
I hope that you've been able to learn a strong work ethic surrounded by character, integrity, perseverance, so that when your 1 second comes, you'll be prepared for it.
Chris Davis.
45. There goes Davis.
Your 1 second, our 1 second is now. And our lives have been guided by the principles of one of the greatest academic institutions in the country, Auburn University.
After the All-Star game on Saturday in New Orleans, Western Conference All-Star center DeMarcus Cousins was traded from the Sacramento Kings to the New Orleans Pelicans. He will now team up with All-Star game MVP Anthony Davis in NOLA. Do you think this move is going to work out for both teams?
I think it's definitely going to work out for the Pelicans. I think that they definitely got the better end of this deal, in my opinion. While the Pelicans did ship 3 guards, and the Kings are getting 3 guys that are all scoring between 8 and 9 points, which, is decent scoring, but they're also giving away arguably a top 10 player in the NBA this season. So I think that the Pelicans really won this trade. I think the Kings, their GM thinks that Buddy Hield has Steph Curry-like potential, and that's why he kind of banked the entire trade on this. So obviously, if that happens, then this trade works out for them too. But until I see that potential come to fruition, I don't really think that the Kings got too much out of this.
Yeah. Obviously, the Pelicans looked up. They've got DeMarcus Cousins, obviously the biggest, the best big player in the game right now. And the Kings, even outside of what's going to happen on the court, have made themselves look horrible as a front office. The way they handled this, the way they told DeMarcus Cousins, even though they have the 2 lottery picks, if I were a rookie player or someone that wanted to be the star player for the Kings, now I'm wondering, how are you going to treat me? No matter how talented I am, no matter if I'm the face of your brand, are you really caring about who I am as a player and what I mean to your brand?
Yeah, I think obviously the Kings are just a mess. Vlade Divac has said that he got a better offer 2 days earlier, and that's just inexcusable. I get that you want to wait for the deadline, but if you have a good offer, you got to jump on it. I think it's going to work out really well for the Pelicans if they're able to keep DeMarcus Cousins going forward outside of making this like a half-season rental. If they can keep him down there, and Boogie and Anthony Davis, both Kentucky guys, so maybe that gives them a little more incentive to stick together. I think they can play really well with 2 big guys. If I had to make a historical comparison, I'm throwing it way back to the 80s. I look at those old Houston Rockets teams and Olajuwon and Ralph Sampson. Sampson is sort of the Anthony Davis role, the giant guy that can play well on the wing, and then Olajuwon, sort of that true center that DeMarcus Cousins is. I think it'll work out well for the Pelicans. They just need to get a guard probably around them. Yeah,
because I think the argument now is, well, now that they have DeMarcus Cousins, will they make the playoffs? Will they be good enough to even go against the Warriors? And obviously, DeMarcus Cousins, much better in his role. I won't say much better, but against Draymond Green, I'm going with Cousins. So it just depends. We'll see.
I think that's a huge point you said, in that they need to make sure to keep Cousins after this season. Just Coach Calipari came out and said he thinks that this will work, but it's definitely going to take some time. We kind of forget that these guys get thrown on a new teams in the middle of the season, and it's not going to click immediately.
Yeah.
So, I think if they keep him for long term, I think this could work out very, very well for the Pelicans.
All right, guys, but now that one blockbuster trade has occurred, do you think the Knicks are going to make a move and be more inclined to trade Carmelo Anthony?
No, even if you are more inclined to, look at the trade they got for DeMarcus Cousins, and even we still feel like the Kings got slighted. What would you get in return for Carmelo? What do you want for him? What would you take on the trade market? Nothing, really. I think if you want to get rid of him, then get rid of Phil Jackson, too. Just, start over, start fresh, because Carmelo's old. Maybe 3 years ago, sure, let's trade him, let's start then. But now, I don't see a point to it.
I agree. I think if they would have done it, they should have already done it by now. I think it's kind of getting too late, and they have all sorts of problems in New York right now. Now the D Rose, they're saying he's on the trade block, maybe getting the Timberwolves, and they're just trying to figure out everything right now. And like you said, I think you couldn't get anything worth trading Melo for right now. So I don't know why you would.
Yeah, and it's like Morgan said, 3 years ago that would have been the time to get rid of Carmelo. He's a great scorer. We can't deny that, but. Yeah, his trade value and his sort of look as a bad teammate that he's had, as sort of a ball hog type of player, I just don't think the Knicks are going to be able to get much for him if they were to trade him.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
All right, but now we are headed to another break. But when we come back, we'll close out today's show by answering our burning question. This is Eagle Eye TV, Channel 6.
So, I just moved in with this family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born, and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that. That's disgusting. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
Welcome back to AU Nation. We end the show, as we do every week, with our burning question. At All-Star Weekend, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver said the league needs to seriously evaluate the NBA draft age limit. The rule currently says players must be 19 years old and 1 year removed from from high school. Do you agree with Adam Silver that the rule should be changed and the age limit increase by 1 year?
I do.
I agree as well. I think that they need to take a note from the MLB here. I think you should be able to go from high school. Because obviously, I think Ben Simmons really got the short end of the stick last season. Having to go to LSU, it's not like he got a good education in 1 year. And, that's the point of college. Why are you making these kids go to college and just risking their futures? And it's obviously worked in the past for Tracy McGrady, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Dwight Howard, Kevin Garnett, all these guys that went from high school. I mean, it's obviously possible for these guys to go in the NBA and their game to translate immediately. And the MLB makes them go either out of high school or for 3 years in college, which I think makes the most sense to me because 3 years – you're still getting an education. You're most likely there taking summer classes, getting a degree. And that's the point of college. I don't see why you're forcing these kids to go to college for a year when they're not. I mean, all they're going to do is risk hurting themselves for the future.
Yeah, I mean, the point of college is to get a better education, but I think for them it's more so about developing that maturity level and even just really, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, their talent has to, I feel like they need that buffer. Because granted, you named Kevin Garnett, LeBron James, but in the last 3 years, can you name anyone who did the one and done, who's really just been super amazing?
That's
exactly.
True.
So, I don't think we're in that time anymore. I think the league has changed. I think things have changed, and they need to change the rule right along with it. I think they need to take a note from college football, and they need to stay here. They need to learn more, not just to get a better education, but to become better players, better men overall.
Yeah, so, say that they do institute this rule, players can come right out of high school again. What sort of impact do you think this is going to have on college basketball? Because right now, one and dones are just a huge trend in NCAA hoops right now, and the product has slowly been getting better. It's sort of recovered in a way from the initial influx of one and dones. How do you think this will affect college basketball if this were to happen?
Well, I think, just look at how it was when all these guys, like I was saying, were coming out. It's going to affect it a little bit, but it's still going to be college basketball, and there's still going to be the passion behind that. And if these guys are required, once they're in college, to stay for 3 years, I think that makes it all that much more meaningful to them. That's just my opinion. But
I think it's a bigger risk to just do away with the one and done completely and start taking them back out of high school, because granted, you name all those great players, but it's not really doing much for right now, for the today. So I think it'll be more of a risk than anything.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be interesting to see how this shakes out if the NBA does institute this rule, and if they do, what's the effect going to be on college basketball. But guys, thank you for being on today's show of AU Nation. We'd love to have both of you back on soon.
Thank you.
thank y'all for having us. Yeah.
All right, but that's going to do it here on AU Nation. Until then, we will see you next week.